Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're so glad that you could join us today. Here's everybody tuning in from. We'd love to hear it. Remember, we have the chat going, so we want to interact as we can with you. Oh, Alicia starting it off. I love it. Already typing away. Philippines. Okay, that is pretty far. What time is it over there right now? It can't be a good time for you, I imagine. Pittsburgh, London, Latvia. Very cool. Okay, so Best, thank you for joining in the middle of the night. That is wonderful of you. All righty. I hope that the weather's getting better for some folks. I think we're finally starting to see a little bit of spring here in Reno, but it may be joking with us. We always get a second and third winter over here, so I'm not sure if it's the same everywhere, but the weather kind of fakes us out. And while we're waiting for some folks, Paulette, where are you joining us from today?
Yeah, I was about to comment that actually myself and Jose are joining from Lisbon, Portugal today. And the spring, I think, is officially here. It's very sunny and warm. And I can, later on today, I'll sit in my swing chair in the balcony enjoying the warm weather finally.
Oh,
Don't jinx it.
amazing.
It's an amazing weather, but don't jinx it, please.
Okay, yeah. I should be careful with that.
Gustavo, it's cold and rainy in Quebec. Well, I like a good rainy day, to be honest, and at least there's not tons of snow, right? The little things we can be thankful for. Is this session going to be recorded? Yes, we will record the session. We'll send it out. It'll be on demand after we complete the day. It usually only takes a couple of minutes for it to process, so it'll be sent out very promptly after we're done. And MJ, you see jumping in here. We have her joining to help us answer some questions and jump in as needed on the chat. So thank you for being here, MJ. Snow is finally melting. Good to hear, Gustavo. Good to hear. All righty. Well, we'll just take that was the minute turnover. I was waiting till 5 after, so that's what I needed, folks. All righty. So I'm going to start us off today. I'm going to share my screen. As always, just go through a very short presentation to lay out the agenda. And then we're going to hand it over to Jose and Paulette to help us and give us all of the insights from our session. So if you'll just give me one moment here, I will go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and I have my big screen over here just so that I can make sure I'm on the right page with everybody. Okay, so jumping in, welcome. We're glad to have you and take a look at our tips and tricks for using Tymeshift today. We've been talking amongst the team to make sure that we are getting a good pulse on different folks and kind of what the tips and tricks are that everybody's sharing. So I think we have some good things. Now, just the logistics, please ask questions in the chat. We want this to be interactive. So anything that comes up for you, other people are probably thinking it as well. We've thought it at some point also. So go ahead and throw that in the chat and we'll be happy to answer it, whether it be either Jose or Paulette jumping in or MJ or I just in the chat. As we already mentioned, there will be a recording sent over after we wrap up. So you'll get that via email. You'll be able to click in and watch it on demand at any time. The next thing is we're kind of concluding the cycle of webinars for our first quarter. Can we believe that the first quarter is almost done here? And that means that our next webinar kind of series is going to be kicking off in April. So this is going to be a boot camp series for Tymeshift. We're starting on the 20th, and it's going to include getting started with Tymeshift, looking at the basics of setup and kind of getting that immediate value when you start. So we are taking it way back to the basics, but we are going to ramp up throughout the quarter and deep dive into a lot of different topics. So we'll go ahead and share the webinar link in the chat so that you can take a look and sign up for any topic that really interests you that you want to go a little bit deeper on, or anything you may have missed in the last couple of months. And next thing, please send all your questions that we don't cover today to our support team. They are happy to jump in and help with anything else after we wrap up. And that can also kind of kickstart other webinars as well. So if there's anything that you would like to cover in the future with us live, let us know, and we'll be excited to put that on the list for the future. Next, introducing the lovely Paulette and Jose, who are going to be kind of leading our session today. Jose's going to kick us off with some scheduling and really deep diving beyond what we covered a couple of weeks ago. And then Paulette is going to jump in and get into other tips and tricks and Easter eggs that we have prepared for you today. So you can kind of see how that's lined out here and what we're going to be covering as far as that schedule, using Tymeshift, getting fast with it. We always want to save some time. So if we can, we're going to help you do that today. And then any extra things we think will come in handy. And with that, I think we can go ahead and get started. So I'll stop sharing here and welcome Jose.
Thank you, Lilith. You do an amazing job at these introductions, and thank you for getting us here. So I will start off by picking up where we left off last time, probably, which was at the view of the agent Zendesk and how and what it can do inside of Zendesk. So I have you'll start off here where you have your lovely Zendesk with your tickets and every piece of work that you have to go in through. Once you install Tymeshift, you will have as an agent two separate pieces of Tymeshift. One which is Tymeshift Workforce Management Time Tracking, so where you can clock in into general tasks, like you can choose what state you need to be in and what work you need to do, or you can even end your day if that's the case. And to the left bottom, you have another Tymeshift logo where you can actually see a bit more functionality. So you can see your current day schedule. Today I've started off at 8 a.m. with a 30-minute meeting, and I worked on phone, so on. I can see that tomorrow my schedule is a bit weird, and this probably is on purpose, so I need to fix it. And this is where I have the possibility of actually have our Google integration, which is a feature that we have in early access. But our Google integration feature, we can actually ask for shift rates, or I can even request time off. Like, for example, if I want to request time off, I would select the shift to which I need time off for, and I would select the reason. I don't know, maybe Web Summit, why not? And the duration of the shift to which I want to request this time off for. Like I could say, dear manager, please let me go to the Web Summit, for example, and I would have this time off requested. It shows us pending approval, and we'll see how this actually exists from the manager's perspective. Actually, we'll do this right now. So if the manager would enter Tymeshift, simply Command K to show all the possible options. You could go into time off management, for example, and I would see a lot of time off management. But for example, my recent request would show here. I could react with a comment, say, please get me a ticket for it, and approve this request. So time off is approved for that day. And again, if I go back to the agent's view here, you will see that no longer appears in approval. So this day is actually requested as a time off. Great. So another thing I would be able to do as an agent would be to trade my shift. Like, let's say I don't want to work Monday next week because I will party weekend after going to Web Summit. Let's go to actually not Sunday, sorry, Monday. And I see my shift there, to which I have, and I could select possibilities for this shift rate to be visible for. I could ask everyone that works at Tymeshift. I could prioritize my location or even internally in my team. I will do it for my location, so everyone that's working in the same office. And ideally, I would like to shift or trade that shift for, I don't know, next Saturday, for example. I could send a trade request. This trade request is available to all my peers, but also is visible inside of Tymeshift for my manager. So if I would go here to shift trades, you can see that my request is here. It expires in 6 days. I see that I have another request from Stefan, which actually was for yesterday, as it wasn't approved. Let me take care of this and say, sorry, no one accepted this trade. Will deny it. Okay, so done. Problem solved. Stefan will receive a message from me with those comments that I've just placed in there. So if you want to go over whatever has been changed, you can go simply toggle here between pending and closed, pretty much to see whatever was in the past, and you can even see what was the change, if it happened, with whom it actually changed. So for example, here Tiago asked for a change and Stefan actually traded the shift with him, and you can get visibility over that. You can change if you want to see more requests, less requests, so on, so on, so on. Or even you can even filter the requests. Like let's say you just want to see the denied ones to understand if is there anyone that's requesting a lot of shifts but not getting a lot of trades. Maybe you want to help them get through that. Here you have some settings where you can actually disable the shift rates for the users and whether or not you want to require manager's approval for it. I'll stop for a bit here because this was time off, it was shift rates. I don't know, I cannot see the chat, but is there any questions, any comments, any questions that you guys want to deep dive on?
So MJ's covering that for now, but we'll let you know if any come up.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Okay, so going more over to the schedule view. Again, Command K, write schedule, you get there. Here you see the schedules for your whole teams, but the piece I want to focus on is actually the piece here below, where you have either the work stream staffing panel, which is what we are seeing. You have several options. You can see the schedule per interval for each one of the work streams. But actually, if you hover over it, you see also the required and the net staffing. So let's say for this period, what I'm seeing is the schedule staffing, 8.8. Actually required, we only had 3, so we are overstaffed by 5.8. You can also select actually the view from what's required, or even what's your net staffing, meaning sort of what's known in the industry as an over-under. So you can see throughout the day for each one of the work streams whether or not you are over or understaffed. For example, if you keep looking at the phone, we see that from 12 a.m. actually to 3 a.m. you are understaffed, and probably you need to adjust some schedules to cover for that, right? Again, here you have the option of having smart highlighting. If you see, I see probably green over the periods where we are more overstaffed, and you'll see red on the periods where we are more understaffed. But you also have another option, which is look at charts. So in terms of charts, you'll see for the whole work streams that are configured in your account, but you can sort of deep dive into some of them. Let's keep with phone. So double clicking on it will open the phone chart. Here you see your required staffing, you see your scheduled staffing, and you see in sort of a transparent blue, you'll see what your required staffing, including shrinkage, looks like, right? So here you can have an overview of what we were saying before. So the beginning of the day, roughly until 3 a.m., you are pretty much understaffed by 3/2, depending on the hour, and also have between 7 and 8 a.m., a period of understaffing. You can look to the rest of your day. It seems like we are overstaffing the end of the day, so probably this is something that we would need to look at and probably change, right? Here, you have another interesting option. If you collapse this, you can choose our general tasks panel, where you can see pretty much each one of your general tasks. In this case, we have them grouped by general tasks and actually time off. And you can pretty much see how many people you have scheduled by any interval to any of these general tasks, or how many people you actually have with time off for a specific period. This will probably help you in case you are looking to the previous over-under in terms of staffing. You can understand where periods where you have more breaks might be causing that understaffing, so you can shift breaks around, which you can do in a very simple way. So you can just hover over actually I'm grabbing lunch, but let me grab a break, over a break, and actually grab it and drag it throughout your schedule to put it in the place where you actually want. You can increase the size of it in case you want by just going at the tip of it and actually doing the same. Oops, sorry, my bad. Let me just get this to place, and actually doing the same and quickly readjusting your schedule to put a break inside another place. Let's say, for example, you have a meeting at the beginning of the shift and you don't want it to be there. You could sort of push that meeting throughout the day in a period that better fits your needs. Okay. Another thing that you can quickly do from this view in terms of schedule management is sort of change the starting time of this shift. Okay, so you would right click any place in the schedule, you would click edit, shift start and end time, and simply just say, okay, here, let me adjust this. You can do it by these amazing 1 minute intervals, or you can actually just pretty much would type it down. So let's, for example, we've seen that this person is working as of 3 p.m. I want to recover the beginning of the shift of the day, as we saw that we were understaffed, and let me keep it like this. Okay, so I want this to be, let's say, the 30th as well, and I want this shift to finish, I don't know, let's put it at 9 a.m. to keep the 9 hours. Okay, and after doing so, and in order to help us from committing or prevent us from committing any mistakes, you see at the top right of the selection how long was this shift. So by doing so, the shift is automatically moved to the period of the day where you have selected it. Okay. I don't know if we have any questions in the chat we need to address right now. If not, I will probably move to some of the next features that we have here. Like, for example, in this view, let's say you have a small team and you actually are used to using other ways of managing your schedules and you don't want to actually generate the schedules inside of Tymeshift, you have here the option to import schedules, where you're given a schedule import template. So it's basically a CSV with the fields that you need to fill out. You can download it, change whatever you need to change, or generate or place the schedules that you want to have there, and then upload this as a CSV. And when you do so, pretty much this applies in this view. So the schedule is generated within Tymeshift with all the general tasks that you place there, lunch breaks, etc. And pretty much after doing so, this will reflect here, and you can quickly publish that schedule. Other feature you have here is the possibility of exporting the schedule. Let's say you want to export a schedule for a given team, or that you're actually playing around with a different version and changing things around without publishing, and you want to push this out of Tymeshift. That's something you can do. You just either select the published schedule or the draft version. Also here you have the possibility by choosing by team. Let's say I want, instead of choosing a group of agents and which area they're working, you actually want the whole team or a specific location, or actually you want all agents. If you want a specific agent, let me search for myself. Let's say I would like to select here, just export the schedule, and I will receive it over email once the export is ready. Good. Other interesting features, adding tasks to multiple days, to multiple users. This is something that we're working on. You could select, let's say, not a break, but let me put a meeting. I want this meeting to happen on the 30th of March, which is where I am. I want the start time of this meeting to be, let's say, I think, what time do I want to have a meeting? 12 o'clock, might be 12 p.m. There we go. And I want the meeting to have the duration of actually 30 minutes. Great. Do I want to overlap if the agent has no shift schedule for this time? I don't. I will just allow it. Sorry. My bad. Didn't select 30 minutes. There we go. I don't want it. I just want this to be applied to the agents that have schedules. I will select probably the tier 1, which is the one that I have visible right now. And I will add this to everyone from tier 1 that actually is working at midday. I will have now to check if this was actually added. 12 p.m. There we go. There we go. Oh. I added it just to tier 1. So simplify this. It's going to be easier. These live things are interesting because it didn't add at the time that I wanted. So I must have messed up something here. So let me try it again. Actually, we'll change it to the QA right now. 12, 15 p.m., 15 minutes duration, and I will select tier 1. Go back to the task. Scheduled, I don't want this. I want them to just be scheduled. Tasks added successfully. So let's see. Oh. Let me quickly refresh this. But the task should appear on the specific day for tier 1. Sorry. put it the 30th. Let's see the schedules there. Will it keep me honest in terms of time? Because I'm not looking at the clock.
We're about halfway through.
Okay. So the only thing I want to go over is probably the features that we are going to have in early access. As you can always check it for yourself inside of our roadmap page. But pretty much regarding schedules, we have these 5 features in early access, starting with schedule 1 minute increments. So beforehand, this wasn't possible, but right now you can schedule a task at 12:01, let's say. You can add tasks at the same time for multiple agents, the feature I was just seeing, so you could pretty much be able to bulk add tasks such as meetings, such as events that your company has, and it can be done by either team, group, specific agent, if you feel like that's the case. Again, shift trades, we went over this to be able to trade your shift with a team member's shift. Here you have the details of this specific functionality. Then we have rotating shifts, so the ability to configure your own shifts and have them rotate between them at a defined set period. So either you want to rotate this every 2 weeks, you want to rotate every week between one and the other, and one-way Google Sync integration. So Tymeshift pushing your schedules into your Google Calendar in order for you to be able to visualize them there and possibly even see them when you're not necessarily working at your company's computer. So in the future, we are working in the two-way integration, which will allow you to actually start and generate a task or a specific calendar event in Google Calendar and have that being imported into Tymeshift according to your own configurations. Okay, try to keep it under 30 minutes. I think I succeeded.
You did succeed. Thank you so much, Jose, for all of that. We really appreciate that. And just a couple of things here. So you saw Jose bring up our roadmap. I did just want to point out that I've left a link to where you can find the roadmap on our website. As I mentioned there as well, you can scroll down to the bottom and find a pink plus button and go ahead and add all the feedback that you would like to see in Tymeshift. Your feedback is what directly impacts how we set up our roadmap. So we want to know what is going to be the best course of action for all Tymeshift features for you. So please, we encourage you to send in all of the thoughts and ideas there. And on that note, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Paule.
Thanks, everyone. Just checking if you can hear me okay. Thumbs up.
Yes, loud and clear.
Cool. Thank you. And I think, Lilith, that's a perfect segue to some hot tips that I wanted to share for today. And thank you, Jose, for deep diving into schedule. So with that, let me start sharing my screen. Mhm. There we go. I think should show already. Cool. So just in case you will, for some reason, will not book Tymeshift's roadmap link, which you should, but just in case you forget about it, I'll show you where to find it. So hot tips for today. We'll start actually with a top navigation bar in Tymeshift. You will see on the right-hand side, there's some handy dandy icons, and I'll tell you all about them. So first of all, you will see here a little megaphone, I guess. And in here, you will find latest updates related to the product. So exactly what Jose and his team and MJ, who are working on a ton of different features, you will find the latest updates here. And there's some more Great links. So product center, it will take you to our Timeshift webpage where you will find a lot more details about the product development, release notes, summary as well of what has been already released, roadmap. That's the one that Lilith just mentioned and Jose was just showing as well. You will also see direct link to our early access programs, which we also just saw. And if you wanted to share some feedback, it's all here at your fingertips. Exactly. The next icon here is for you to get some help. If you would want to reach out to our team, you can easily actually reach out to us via chat, email, or check out our help center as well. And in some cases, you will see a direct link to a success team as well. Here under the support request status, you will see if you had any tickets open with our support team, you will be able to quickly view a summary of what's going on, what were the latest updates, what's the status of the ticket. And here we also have our status page report. So if there's any outages, knocking on wood, but yeah, but it's SaaS, right? So sometimes things happen. But here you will see some details if there's any updates from our side. Now, another icon here that you will find is what we call a time zone switcher. So let me close this one. Time zone switcher. Here you will, by default, will see a time zone that was selected for your Timeshift instance, but you might have teams that are working in a different location, right? So if they wanted to view Timeshift features and schedules and reports based on their time zone, this is where the agents or users actually would go ahead and change the time zone to reflect their location. Very heavily used by folks that have teams in various different time zones. So that's with the top navigation bar. Now, some of you might have noticed this very little sneaky, how do we call it? Note, guide. So you will see here at the bottom right, something that actually Lilith was building with the team. So here we have a self-guided onboarding. So if you will click on it, you will see some great content to walk you through all of the features, all of the new features that we have here in Timeshift. So how to get started, and you would kind of go through and few of the steps and few of the lessons in a way, and you can come back to it at any point. So feel free to use it. It's also really loved feature that we built recently. Actually, I want to say, Lilith, keep me honest here. We launched it late last year or beginning of this year.
Yeah, late last year already.
Yeah, time is flying. Yeah, as you said, we're already wrapping up the Q1. All right, so feel free to use it, explore it, let us know what you think about it. And I think that's another great way to learn a little bit more about Timeshift together with these webinars. And then another quick tip that I wanted to share with you is, of course, something that Jose already mentioned, but I think it's quite overlooked are the hotkeys or shortcuts, right? So Command K will open a search field where you can just type a feature of time shifts and it will take you there right away. So I wanted to show you reports. If we go here, so for now, we will stop here for a brief moment. You will notice throughout our platform, ton of quick tips. So if you just hover up on it, you will see some details here and yeah, some quick tips as well with various different features of ours. Now, I think it's time for us to move over to some admin stuff, some hidden gems in gems, not germs, some hidden gems in the admin section. So let's go ahead and first of all, let's open the work streams. There we go. So you just type a few letters and our search field will do the trick. So here are our work streams. And actually, I think a couple of weeks ago, we went through quite in depth how to build those, what exactly they represent. For a moment, I'll just make a pause and quickly recap that work streams are basically your way to identify the type of work that you want Timeshift to track, right? So the type of work that your agents are able to do and the type of work that you want to track forecast, schedule for, and eventually report on. So a couple of things here. You can change the colors of each of the work stream. And here, what I would advise is probably to keep it more organized. For example, if you have tier one, tier two, tier three, as you can see here, they're kind of all green, maybe in different shades, but it's easy to recognize that this is a certain type of work that's somewhat similar, but there are also some differences. And then, of course, chat and other different work streams you can identify easily with different colors. Now, keep in mind in Tymeshift, whenever the agent is on the untracked state, meaning that they are not actively working on any ticket or they're not in any aux code or general task, as we call it, their time in the agent activity will be reflected as untracked. So let me just quickly open that up for you just to show you how it will look like. So it's going to be this red little block. So for example, this is our demo account, so there's not too much untracked time. But in some cases, some agents would be accumulating some untracked time, and you might see a little bit longer blocks. And here the idea is if you will color one of your work streams also in red, it will be difficult to differentiate what is actually the untracked time where the agent is not necessarily productive versus the work stream that is colored in red. So just a quick tip here. Black color as well might indicate that there are some work streams that are overlapping, meaning that the conditions that are created are the same. So the idea here is that we would need to spot those those activities or those tickets actually. So here, let me zoom in a little bit. You see that we have an example 4427. That's the ticket number in Zendesk. So here you will see that this ticket is actually matching two of the work streams. That indicates that we need to go back into the workstream setting and take a look into their conditions and adjust some things because we want to track separate the tier 3 and Timeshift VIP simply because we will need to forecast for this type of work. And if we will forecast for this, if we would run a forecast for this ticket, it will be double counting because it matches tier 3 and Timeshift VIP. So it will be reflected in both of these work streams. So yes, about the colors, keep in mind that the black color is showing multiple work streams, or in some cases, if you have not created a work stream for that particular work, it will show no work stream. And untracked time is tracked as the red color. So keep that in mind. Now, another quick tip while we're here in the agent activity is if you click on the activity, you can open the actual Zendesk ticket in your instance and you will be directed to exact ticket to understand all the parameters. For example, in this case, since we're saying that it matches two work streams, or if you see like a long track time on that ticket, you can understand maybe that's very complex. An agent might need some help. So you can open the Zendesk ticket or you can edit the activity. And I'll get back to that one in a moment. So let's come back to the work stream. There's more there. So first of all are the colors. Second thing are descriptions. So here we have quite generic. If you look here, ticket one, tier one tickets, tier two. Here is just a bubble to represent the chat, phone, all calls. So here, if you wanted to, you can really add a lot more context, what's behind certain work streams. In this case, it's pretty self-explanatory, but we've seen some scenarios where customers would use abbreviations for specific work streams. So additional description can have a little bit more clarity for folks that are working with Timeshift. Next thing is to keep an eye on the user count in each of the work stream. So for example, here you will see that in tier 2, tier 1, the rest of the work streams, we have 101 users all throughout. But in billing and messaging, we have just one user assigned each. In some cases, it will be important to keep an eye on it simply because if you're adding new agent into Timeshift, you need to make sure that the agent has a work stream assigned. Basically, you telling that this agent is able to perform this specific work defined in the work stream. So keep an eye on it. If you see you have 101 on all of your work streams, but just one in billing or messaging, maybe you need to assign more users to it because then they will get the schedule for that work stream. So that's with the user count. And the last thing is the preview match. So let me show you what I mean here. When you are setting up the work stream and you want to make sure that things are looking okay, maybe you need some additional boost of confidence. What you would do is when you're building your conditions, you can use this option to preview match for the conditions above. Let me zoom in. So once you click here, we will quickly calculate the times that particular work stream, or let me rephrase that, the tickets that matched this particular work stream in the last 30 days. So you will see that for this particular conditions, for these particular conditions, we had 2,261 tickets that actually met these conditions. And here, there's additional tip if you wanted to read that through. So that's about workstream. And let me pause just here to see if there's any questions.
We haven't had any come in, but folks, please ask as needed. We love to get everything answered for you.
Thank you, Lilith. So after the work streams, another feature that I think is somewhat overlooked in some cases are teams. So let's get to teams. Oh, there we go, teams. So teams basically will help you organize other features in Tymeshift a lot better. So for example, imagine if you would want to segment your group of agents in a little bit different way than Zendesk groups, right? You could use Teams feature to really build separate teams, maybe in different locations, which is another feature actually on its own, or maybe different business lines that you could then use as a filtering option or a grouping option within the rest of Timeshift features. Just a quick pause here for shout out to Teams. The next feature that I have on my list is in our agent permissions. So let me show you here. In agent permissions, quick note that every time you add a new agent to your Zendesk instance, it will take 12 hours for it to be reflected on Timeshift. Simply the two tools are syncing and sending information from one to another. If, for example, you added a new agent earlier this morning, but you already want to see how things are progressing and what activities the person is working on, what you can use is the manual agent refresh option, which we have here in agent permissions at the top right. So once you click, it will take a few moments and it will be updated already. So then you can go ahead and change agent permissions, make few updates, and see how the activity is being tracked. Now, speaking about agent permissions, let me just quickly see. That's exactly the next point I wanted to go through is the task clock time limit. So I believe most of you would already know what is the task clock feature in Timeshift. And let me just quickly share this tab. So in Timeshift, you will find in Zendesk, you will find Timeshift widget at the top right. Once you click on it, this is a demo account, so keep in mind this is all automatic. So it shows that I'm right now on the ticket, which I am not, but this is all automatic. So let me change into a lunch, for example. I'm going on a lunch. Timeshift is tracking me already on lunch. And for example, I wanted to lock myself into this activity. Task lock will be useful, maybe not actually for the lunch general task. So let me just change that. QA. Let's say I'm a quality analyst and I want to lock into this activity because I need to actually analyze some tickets that my colleagues were working on. So I would be going into a ticket, taking a look at what's going on, but Timeshift will continue to track me on this specific general task once I am locked in it. If I wouldn't be locked, Timeshift would just follow me through the work that I'm doing in Zendesk. In this case, I will be tracked on this particular ticket. Now, with the task log, in some cases, Agents might forget to unlock themselves. How you could actually control that or monitor that is by setting up a specific time frame that the task clock would be active for. So you can see here, my task clock limit is 20 minutes. After the time has passed, I will be kicked into the activity that I'm actually currently performing. So if, for example, I don't have any ticket in the view, I will be moved to the untracked time. Or if I am actually on a specific ticket, I will be moved to track that ticket time. So task clock time limit, really great feature for you to kind of keep an eye and make sure to kind of help agents as well to um, not overuse the task clock, if I could say that way. Now, another feature that I wanted to share with you, which is great if you're trying to manage the active licenses that you have with Tymeshift, is the allow deny list. So you will find it under the admin section, under settings. And if we go to advanced options, this is the one that I have in mind. So if you will add the agents into this list, depending on the setting that you have here, you will be able to control who either doesn't have the access to Tymeshift and they will not be tracked and you will not be billed for them, or vice versa. Which is a group of people that you want to actually track the time for, see them in the reports, have the visibility into their activities, right? And you will be billed for those licenses here. So if you wanted to have more control on the active licenses, you could use the allow deny list. Um, Now, after the admin section, I actually wanted to go through a little bit of the Google Calendar integration, but Jose did everything already for me, so thank you. Um, Now, let me see. I have actually a long list, so let me see if I can cram everything in 12 minutes. Forecasts. So maybe I can whiz through the forecast since we have a recorded webinar from a couple of weeks ago. So just a couple of things here. In the forecasts, you can easily hide and show some of the work streams or actually folders. So here I just wanted to show you that at the bottom left, just let me make sure I see you guys. At the bottom left, there's a quick icon to click and to create a work stream. Let me just zoom out. There we go, folder. So I would rename it. Right, so in here, you can easily drag and drop certain work streams to combine certain work. So for example, if you wanted to track tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 work streams, sorry, forecasts for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you could create a folder called all tiers combined, and you could move actually all of these work streams into that folder. Now let me expand it. You will see that it's all together. And now, once we show the table, you will be able to see it all combined. The same goes for the required staffing. We will be combining all of the required staffing for the folder. So that's an email, that's mine one. Yeah, we need to run a forecast here. So that's one tip to really keep your work streams and the forecast organized with folders. Another one is for the inbound volume or the required staffing, you have an option to export all of the data into a CSV. If you wanted to work on some presentations or just keep some historical context here, you can easily do that. Or maybe run different scenarios for the required staffing based on the parameters, staffing parameters here. So let's say if you have one option with certain staffing parameters, certain occupancy rates, and you wanted to compare it with different one. These are easily interchangeable, so you can export that and share the views, how it would look like. So that's for the forecast. Additional one. In case you are new to Zendesk and you might have had some different ticketing system and you wanted to import all the historical volume that you have from different system, it's easy to do that with Tymeshift, with Zendesk as well. But with Tymeshift for your forecast calculation, what you would need to do is just hover on the workstream that you already created and simply select historical volume. and you will be able to import that. There's going to be a template that we will ask you to fill in, and it will crunch the numbers. It will automatically appear on Tymeshift. Now for the agent activity, let's go ahead. That's all I had for forecast. Let's hop into the agent activity. So if you remember, I mentioned that there is a way how you can edit some of the activities or open the ticket in Zendesk. So you can edit the activities either from this view where you can see all the different blocks of time tracked for all the agents, clicking on the block that you want to edit and then hitting edit activities. So you will see this modal show up. Or if you wanted to actually click on the agent, you will see then the view of their actual schedule, what was published for that day, the adherence to that schedule based on the actual activity that they're doing right now. So you can see how it matches, right? So this is what we call adhering to the schedule. And then talk states. You're also able to track their talk states. But if you click on the agent's name again, you will see this quick summary here. How is their day broken down, how their day looks like, broken down into paid, unpaid time, and talk states breakdown. Okay, so she didn't track anything really. Yes, there's no talk states here. Now, if you click on these three dots here, you will have an option to edit the activities again. So it opens the same modal. Now, what we can do here is actually make the changes. So you can either delete the block of time or assign it to actual different activity, either general task or the work stream itself. You can also change the start and end time. That's a quick tip for you here. Now, let me take a look what else I have in the agent activity. I think that was it. So yes, editing all the different blocks of time and taking a look into a Zendesk ticket. Now, another one that I have for you, just keeping an eye on the time.
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Okay. Let's go into the attendance. So as well, attendance you will find either from the search field. Oh, by the way, one thing that I forgot. Either Command K will actually call out this particular search field for search for different features, or Command F will actually highlight the search field for the agents, for the user. So it's also very convenient. For example, let's find, there we go. So you start typing right away and you will find the agent's name. So let's go into attendance. In the attendance feature, you will actually see as well the full list of agents that are scheduled for today, their time scheduled overall, the time logged. So here you can see that folks are still being clocked in. Now, a quick tip here is you will see here a full number of agents that you can see in the list right now. This is fairly new, actually, that we added. And here, the hot tip is that if you click on this filter option at the top, because sometimes it's overlooked, you will see some additional filtering options. So either you can choose to see the folks that are clocked in, but they were not scheduled, just to see, who came in without even a schedule, or shift started and not clocked in. That's a good one. Then you can also hide some users without no schedule or activity. You can select to view specific locations or teams or groups. And after you made some changes, for example, okay, we don't have anyone who didn't have a schedule. So for example, I see these folks. How to go back? At the bottom here, there's a refresh page, like a reset filters option. So you do that and you'll go back to see everyone. If you click again on the filter, you will see the full list of agents. Yeah, and now let's move on to agent status. And I think that's probably going to be the last one for today. And for the rest of them, maybe Lilith, we could write a quick blog post. Some ideas. So
Good.
For agent status as well, very similar to what we saw in the agent attendance. So here you will see the agent count. There's a filter. You can also choose folks to see in a certain work stream or general task, paid or unpaid, locations, teams, groups, so forth. So let's go back. And here the quick hot tip for the day is that you can also click into a ticket and you will be taken into a Zendesk view where you can actually see the ticket itself. So for instance, if you see someone is taking 15 minutes on this particular chat, maybe they need some help. It's quite long ongoing, right? So maybe there's something that we can do for them and guide them through. So it's easy to quickly look into a ticket and get the context here. And with that, folks, I think I'll stop here and we'll figure out the way to share more tips with you in a different format or maybe in future webinars. But thank you so much, and I hope it was helpful.
Thank you, Paule. Those were great. And a lot of my favorite tips, actually, I have to say, Command F is my top tip because it filters everything out. So you can just see one person, which is super useful. And then I also love the click through to Zendesk ticket. So those are my two highlights personally. All righty, folks. Well, we're wrapping it up for today, but as always, feel free to reach out to us if you have any additional questions. Again, you can do that at support@tymeshift.com. Just shoot us an email or head into your Tymeshift area. And as Paule mentioned, in the top right-hand corner, you can just go ahead and submit a request right there. Feedback, questions, all of it. So again, folks, thank you so much. We really appreciated your time today. You will be getting a recording in just a few minutes, and I hope you have a great rest of your day and rest of your week as we get towards Friday. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.